If you're like me, which would be weird because then I'd just be talking to myself and my therapist said it's not conclusive to a healthy environment, then you're also a massive fan of every new movie and TV show that comes out in the superhero genre. Well, most of them.
Eat my hammer!
No! But let's not focus on these massive companies making billions of dollars a year who have their heads so far up their asses they'd rather 80% of their workforce go on strike than just pay them livable wages. No. Let's look at smaller, self-contained superhero shows. Shows like Umbrella Academy. Originally releasing as a comic in 2007, the soon-to-be showrunner Steve Blackman decided that this epic subversive story of a superpowered found family in a tangible world with real consequences and problems is a perfect addition to their Netflix renaissance. And thankfully, unlike some Netflix projects, this was a success. Season 1 premiered on February 15th, 2019, following the adopted siblings of a very eccentric billionaire who all possess a different unique power. From being able to curve anything they throw to time travel, Season 1 centers around the estranged Hargreave siblings as they reunite after their awful, awful father mysteriously dies, leading them to the real mission, preventing the apocalypse, which is a theme they really can't escape from. In the attempt of brevity, I'm going to try to go through Season 1 and 2 pretty quick, just so I can get to Season 3, where my real gripe with this character begins. And if you're not as carefree as Klaus, or a time traveler like 5, then here's your spoiler warning for anyone who needs it. Season 1 was pretty revolutionary at the time for superpower TV shows, as one of the first live actions that had unique characters living in a real world with actual consequences, with their own personalities and relationships that were as different as they were interesting. We learned that number 5, one of the 7 kids that were adopted by the eccentric billionaire, disappeared one day as they were kids, leading to the eventual decline of their superhero team, the Umbrella Academy. Fast forward to meeting them as adults, they all have wildly different lives, from being an A-list actor to an addict to literally living on the moon. But after they find out their father died, they all return home to the insane 2-city block wide mansion they grew up in. So I guess it couldn't have been too hard, right?
Michael, don't leave me here.
However, after the service, number 5 appears again through a wormhole back in his prepubescent body, where he warns his family that the future he's been stuck in for the past 50 so years was actually just a full-on apocalypse. And get this, it happens in 8 days, and he's inclined to stop it. So blah blah blah, plot happens, Klaus is perfect, 5 is a time-traveling assassin, and Diego is Walmart Batman. And boom, it turns out that Vanya, played by Elliot Page, is actually the cause of the apocalypse. There's apparently a powerhouse in that teeny tiny frame, but Allison, being a great sister, saves Vanya from themselves and saves the world. Almost. In a last chance effort, 5 uses his time-traveling powers to jump his whole family back right into Season 2. In this season, we find our family stuck in 1960s Dallas, Texas. And unfortunately for them, they're not stuck together. They actually get thrown in over a 3-year span, causing all of them to adapt to life in the 60s by themselves. But as you would have guessed it for 5's luck, he gets thrown right into the 1961 apocalypse. But wait, there wasn't an apocalypse in 1961. Oh, okay, they caused it again. Yep, it's their fault. Give this old man a break. I mean, come on. But saved by my main man Hazel, he's told now he only has 5 days to prevent the next apocalypse. This season gives us gorgeous cinematic scenes, phenomenal writing and acting, and an overall better take on our siblings. They finally start acting like real people and stop hiding really important information from each other. So it really feels like you're in it with them the whole time instead of just waiting for the next thing to happen or someone else to find out about this thing that only one person knows about, and then you're kind of just like waiting the whole season for that, and it's really boring. But this season did not do that. This season was amazing. But honestly, every character was better. I mean, Diego was just so much fun. Vanya finally began to understand who they really were. And Allison, who straight up had the hardest experience in this time period, became even more compassionate and badass. And after once again preventing the apocalypse, they go back to 2019. However, this is not the same 2019 they left. Okay, I hope that was brief enough, but let's get into our main topic. How Allison's character was ruined, destroyed, decimated in Season 3. Now, I have mixed feelings about season 3 because the pacing is overall definitely slower and it kind of has a different vibe than any of the first two, which is fine because I think every season can be unique and have its own thing. But this season's thing is kind of just being in a hotel the whole time and dealing with these asshats, the Sparrow Academy, but I'll get there. However, it does focus more on the lore of the Umbrella Academy and their superpowers and Daddy Hargreaves himself. But honestly, that all interested me. And the dynamics of the kids were just perfect. Until it wasn't. I realize I'm saying kids a lot, even though like they're all older than me, but they're still my kids in my heart. Season 3 is about another apocalypse. Who would have guessed? But this one is actually the worst by far. It's ending everything. First off, since Dick Hole Hargreaves met the kids back in the 60s, he actually decided that, he's gonna adopt another 7. A different set of kids. The Sparrow Academy. And, respectfully, what a f***ing missed opportunity with these characters. Killing them off pretty much instantly or just super easily is such a waste of potential. Like, why even create them at all if you're just gonna use them for some contrived drama or as foils to our characters? I don't know. But fine, it works. And eventually they actually all work together. Oh, what's left of them, to fight bug-filled samurais in an alternate dimension. And yes, if that was confusing, then get ready, because season 3 is kind of a mind. But before we spoil the ending, let's get into our awful character, New Ben. No, I'm kidding. Should have had a better arc, but hashtag miss old Ben. But no. This character is unforgivable. Allison. I swear I don't know what went through the writer's head this season, because there's out of character, and then there's a completely different character. But I haven't even told you the worst part yet. No consequences. First, let me explain the difference between the original Allison we were given and then this new awful version. Allison can rumor people, which basically means that she can make them do whatever she wants. She uses this power to get famous, find love, which is honestly red flag number 1. And discipline her child. However, after her husband catches her doing it, he actually divorces her and takes her kid away. The same child that she misses so much, however, never mentions in season 2, maybe outside 1 or 2 occasions, but maybe that's because she has her not forced husband, Roy, who is a great guy that makes her better, that she has to leave to go back to 2019. So I guess we can count that as another loss leading to this change of character, but it's still unfounded. Yeah, it's the next day. I couldn't finish this video in one. It was just too much. It was too much. But once our kids get back in 2019, they realize that the life they knew never existed. And Allison gets the bright idea to go visit Claire because she must miss her. And I think we all know how that went. But despite this, in the first few episodes, Allison is still kind, understanding, and yeah, sad. But she's not alone, so you still feel hopeful for the rest of the season. However, this all changes when 2 things happen, and her psyche slowly starts to crumble. The first is when they realize the briefcases that normally go back in time aren't working anymore because of the grandfather paradox that's just destroying everything. So this means she can't go back and fix anything to be with Claire, or even go be with Roy. However, the second big change is when she finds out what started the grandfather paradox. Apparently Harlan, the boy that Victor helped raise in the 60s, grew up with a little bit of her power left in his body after they thought they got it all out, and as a complete accident with no intention or control behind it, he accidentally made it so they never even were born, creating this paradox that's going to end the world. Well, instantly Allison blames him and Victor for the reason that Claire doesn't exist. Real quick, let's have a thought experiment. Let's say they were born. Would Claire still exist if you didn't have the same life, were never in the Umbrella Academy, never became famous, and never met Claire's dad? The answer is no. She wouldn't exist regardless. But that marks a change in her persona. She becomes mean, vindictive, selfish, obsessed, and not even in a cool way. She wants you to think she's the only one who lost someone, which is very, very obviously not true. Someone I may say again, she barely talked about. As the season progresses, we see the kids realize the magnitude of the situation and try to save the world once again. But within this, we also get individual goals and storylines of the characters throughout the season. One of these being Luther falling in love with a sparrow. And for the first time, he's allowed to truly be himself and is with someone who loves him for him. But new Allison can't have that. I'm going to put a trigger warning here for conversations and scenarios of SA. So if you definitely want to skip that, here's a timestamp to go to. But yeah, here we go. Pretty much as soon as Allison finds out Luther is no longer her boy toy that will do anything she wants, she uses her power to force herself on him. And I literally have chills thinking about this scene because it's so hard to watch, so disgusting, and the actors play it so real. You can literally feel Luther pulling away with all his strength, but Allison won't let him. And after this goes on for way too long, Allison decides to stop and walks away like some badass who can't believe that He doesn't want to be assaulted by her. But here's the worst part. It's never brought up again.
I was acting. Or was I?
Yeah, that's right. No apologies, no repercussions, and no consequences. And that's the core of the problem with her this season. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, it's just one bad scene, like, it can't be. No, it's more. This is like the egg in the brownie recipe. We have a whole lot of shit left until we can eat that delicious brownie. Moving on to her next victim, the next situation that involves her. We have Victor, who's finally able to save Harlan and absorb the remaining power out of him so he can live a normal life after like 60 years of pain. And after this happens and Harlan tries to leave as a normal, elderly, autistic, powerless man, he is stopped by Allison, who decides to use her last 2 brain cells to blame him for losing Roy and Claire. And guess what happens? She murders him. Yep, that's right. She murders Victor's Claire. Basically his kid. The one that he helped raise last season and loved. And you know what happens when he tries to confront her? She just makes him stop breathing and gives this really stupid speech and then walks away like some badass again. And you guessed it. She faces no repercussions at all. And Victor even apologizes to her multiple times. Eventually, the remaining kids are stuck in this hotel as the world around them crumbles, like literally. So they try to make the best of the situation, but you know, evil Hargreaves and awful Allison can't let that happen. So as they decide to work together behind everyone's back to force them all go and fight these bug-filled samurais and solve a puzzle to reset the universe, they're told that they made up their minds. They're content with their decisions to stay behind and just be with the rest of the universe as it all collapses. Until the deal that Allison made gets Luther killed by Alien Daddy, which, okay, that's a conversation for another time. But this forces everyone to go and fight pretty much almost to the death.
'Tis but a scratch.
As it turns out, her fake apologies and apparent breakthrough of the old Allison was all for nothing as Hargreaves lied anyway and starts killing everyone, besides Allison, of course, because she still gets to live and has no repercussions of her actions. But finally, we do get this moment, just as he's about to drain the remaining life out of the only people who ever loved her truly, like her true family that wasn't rumored to be with her. She makes a good decision. She stops Hargreaves. Wait. Hold on. No. Just stop. Never mind. Literally 3 seconds later, she finishes the job anyway. And boom. Now we're put into an entirely different Gotham-esque universe where everyone's actually brought back fully healed, but powerless. Stuck in the new world with nothing and no one. Everyone except Allison, who finds Roy and Claire living in their old house in the present. Because that was a deal she made with Hargreave apparently. And no one else deserves to see their loved ones they lost or anything. No, just her. Just the awful person this season. Yep. And then it ends. So the evil, manipulative character she turned into this season is given everything. And probably still has her powers too. You know, murdering innocents, SA, betraying your family. It's all fine if you get what you want in the end. Now, the argument of being overtaken by anger and sadness over losing people she loved and the years of horrible discrimination she faced in the 60s causing her to act like this, I personally can't speak on that, so I'm not going to try, but I will give you 2 questions to answer honestly to kind of go against this argument. Were the losses her siblings experienced not on the same level as hers or as deep of love? And yes, I know, if you have a kid and you're going to say you don't understand the love, okay, I get it. But she didn't even mention her in season 2 until the end pretty much. So it's not like she was dying to go back to Claire. And she also wasn't that good of a parent anyway if she had to rumor her to do anything she wanted. But if the losses are in the same level, why didn't they change like her? And number 2, what would Roy say if he knew the real circumstances and situation that brought him back? Would he be disappointed, sad, traumatized? We know he definitely wouldn't be proud. Now please, as always, do not blame the actress. She literally is the kindest and like most joyful person if you watch an interview, and that's the only reason I started liking her again is after watching the show. I really had like a hate streak for her, but seeing how she is in real life, not in the show, made it definitely better. So if you're feeling that way, go watch an interview. You'll see how bubbly, how fun she is. And honestly, that just gives me more respect because she really killed this character this season, being able to play it so well when it's so contrary to who she really is. But make sure to comment your theories for season 4. Maybe she'll be the villain. I hope not. But despite the flaws that I've mentioned, I still severely love this show. But we're in uncharted water, folks, and I don't do good on boats. But comment your thoughts, like, throw on notifications, and come here. I heard a rumor. You subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.